Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Matthew Mumbles. My name is Matthew, if that wasn't already obvious enough. And in this podcast, we pretty much talk about whatever, as long as it relates to me. I can talk about my interests, my beliefs, maybe my projects sometimes. But anyway, I can tell you like a life story, whatever it may be. So on this episode, we're going to be talking about the upcoming Godzilla film, Godzilla Minus One. This is going to be my pre-release thoughts. So far, we only have a teaser trailer, a few promo shots of Godzilla himself, a movie poster, both international and American version, and an S.H. Monster Arts figure, and I don't think the Bandai vinyl's been shown off, has it? I think it may be. I don't know. But yeah, those are the only things we have so far to go off of in terms of the movie's material. And so far, this movie looks really, really, really freaking good. Like, I don't think that... Okay, hold on. Let me backtrack here. I knew that when they announced a new Godzilla movie this year, I was honestly really hyped. In fact, I made a TikTok about it, like saying how Spider-Verse was constantly being like hyped to be like the best movie of this year. Then there's a new Godzilla film coming out. Like I don't imagine like all the Spider-Man fans that were watching that TikTok were too pleased to hear me post that or see me post that. But I mean, hey, I'm not bashing Spider-Verse. I watched Spider-Verse in theaters. It's a good movie. But before this turns into a Spider-Verse, let's revert back to Minus One. Minus One looks really good. Even though we've only got 3-4 shots of Godzilla in action so far from that 30-second teaser trailer. Or it might be a minute. Yeah. It looks really, really good. Like, especially for Japanese special effects. And I know that might sound odd to say, but it's kind of true. Like, in terms of, if you compare Japanese CGI versus American CGI, like, especially like Shin Godzilla versus Monster vs. Godzilla, you can't really compare the two, The Japanese are apparently behind on special effects from what I've heard. But yeah, that's besides the point. But this is really good CG. Like, I'm not saying it looks like he's there, but it definitely looks like he could be there, if that makes any sense. So, with that also being said, I think that in terms of how Godzilla looks, we're going to say that for later, I like the idea that they're taking this into a World War II story. Because the whole idea of Minus One is that Japan is now just getting off the heels of World War II. We're currently dealing with it. One of the two. 54 was 9 years after World War II, or the time they got bombed at least. So they were still recovering from it. Godzilla shows up in 54 and wreaks havoc all over again. This is hot off the heels. This isn't 9 years later. At least I don't think. This is right afterward. And that is really terrifying. Imagine your country was just caught up in the middle of the war. You just got bombed. And almost everything is destroyed now. But then guess what? A big radioactive lizard shows up and starts destroying your country even more. That sets them into the minuses. First they were left with nothing. Now Godzilla's here to send them into the minus. That's why it's Minus One. So I think the story is really good. And I'm interested to see how this movie plays out. As for Godzilla's design, controversial opinion, I think that this design is somewhat overrated. I know. It's a weird thing to say. But I've heard people, especially on TikTok, say that this is the best Godzilla design ever, It's better than Monsterverse. It's better than Shin. It's better than Earth. Better than the Showa, Heisei, Millennium. Any of those designs. For one, we've only got a single image of this. Well, not a single image, but only a few images of this design. I get it. It looks really good. I'm not gonna hold you guys on that. It looks super stinking good. But you guys also have to remember, we've seen this design before. Now I know what you're thinking. What? Yeah, we've seen this design before. If you remember, in 2021, there was a ride called, well, Godzilla The Ride, and there he went face to face with Ghidorah. Doesn't that design look oddly familiar to you when you look at this? Yeah, when you do a side by side comparison between that design and this is literally that design with bigger dorsal fins and updated textures. That's literally it. Maybe it's got updated skin modeling, but this is literally the same model. Like, this is literally pound for pound the same exact Godzilla model. Even if it's retooled, it's still the same. It's like I forget who borrowed the model for Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman, but they would still qualify as the same base model design. I think that design was okay. I think it was really good, honestly. Especially now that it's a movie Godzilla that just exploits my excitement even further. But I feel like people are overhyping this thing. I get it, it's a really good design, but it's not the best we've seen. Like, that's just overrating it. There's the Heisei Godzilla. What about him? Y'all were praising him, then guess what? Now y'all are just leaving him for the new Godzilla, whom we haven't even seen in the movie theater yet. At least wait till the movie comes out. Also, that's another thing. When it comes to the movie's release, I'm a bit concerned with this one. So take it as you will, but like, this is kind of big. No, it's really big. I think this is the first time that a Japanese Godzilla movie has had an American release like this in a very long time. Because all the other Godzilla movies, even Shin Godzilla, have just been limited releases or just went straight to streaming. The anime films just went straight to Netflix. They didn't even bother putting this thing in theaters in America. Shin Godzilla, I'm going to be comparing this film to Shin Godzilla, by the way, in terms of release. Shin Godzilla was actually released in American and Canadian theaters, but only for like a limited time. Only select theaters got it, and even then it was only for like a week or two before they completely cut it off, thanks to Funimation, apparently called Crunchyroll now, or they're separate companies, but the same one, or I don't know what's going on with them anymore. But this is like an official, widespread, nationwide release. This is going up against every movie that's going to be released around that time in December 1st. Also, yeah, it's coming out December 1st for America. It's headed to Japanese theaters a month early on November 3rd for Godzilla's 69th anniversary. Just a bit of a recap. This could be a bit of a blow towards Godzilla X Kong the New Empire, because this film is only coming out literally like, I think 3 months before? Yeah, 3 months. Because you got January, February, and March. That's not that far away from the two films. Because I know for a fact some people might be confused. Some people might look at this film, watch it, and think, that was a very crummy film. I'm not going to watch The New Empire. Because they're so close together. I think that since people might not agree with that, but I personally don't see how the two films would affect each other. Okay, hold on. Let me rephrase that. I don't see how the films wouldn't act as competition for each other, or one wouldn't affect the other. Because -1 basically has to succeed, because when -1 releases, guarantee we're going to be getting a trailer for The New Empire. Okay? You don't, unless they pull a GVK and release the trailer right after, like in January, and wait till March to release it again, which I don't think is going to happen with Legendary under their belt again after what they did with HBO Max, or I guess just now called Max. Like, if -1 flops, then, or doesn't succeed, doesn't do well critically or whatever, that could definitely affect The New Empire in some way, shape, or form, Shin Godzilla had the advantage because it was just a limited release. Hey guys, it's future Matthew here. I recorded this entire bit, but for some reason it started buzzing out like crazy in this section. So basically, what I was trying to say was like it had the advantage of being like a limited release versus this one being like a nationwide release. So I'm honestly kind of scared that it might affect the New Empire box office wise if it's not received very well. But I hope it does well, like regardless, because I believe that Godzilla is big enough of a franchise for that. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for listening to this podcast. If you guys liked it, definitely subscribe to the channel. Jesus loves you. God bless you all. Go out there and spread the gospel. And I'll see you guys in the next video and episode of this podcast. Peace out, everyone.